Welcome, friends. This is Into the Garden We Grow, a place for faith-filled growth. Each week we gather here to have honest conversations about life, leadership, healing, and purpose, reminding us that even in hard soil, something beautiful can grow. Wherever you're planted today, you belong here. Welcome back to another episode of Into the Garden We Grow. We're so excited to have you. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome. My name is Kristen.
I'm Alina.
I'm Kelly.
And today we're going to talk about our branches of generational motherhood as far as our grandmothers, our mothers, and kind of taking a look backwards to see and understand what has shaped us. We can talk about healing, gratitude, and honesty, and come together in that space, and the types of things that we've inherited and what we choose to carry forward.
I love to hear people's stories, and so I'd love to ask you both to share a little bit about the stories of what strengths have been passed down through your family, so through your mothers or your grandmothers. So Kristen, do you mind sharing a little bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. When I think about strength, especially from my mom, and actually when I think about this particular strength from her, I saw it in her mother as well, which was they didn't back down from difficult situations where it was unfair or unjust. Like, they would speak up, they would stand up for it, and for me, I've definitely inherited that, but in a way that's also been a faith foundation for me as well, because I can stand firm in my faith and know what is true and what is right and what is just, what is fair, what is balanced, all the things that it really talks about in the book of Proverbs.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost kind of a traditional thing. Like, if you don't have that voice as a woman in your family, you're breaking that tradition. So I don't want to do that, and I want my girls to be able to have that foundation as well.
They sure are. They do already, so that's awesome.
How about you, Alina?
For me, I love this topic because I never really thought about it, and the first thing that comes to mind, I am super hospitable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it. I love people over. I love hosting. I love just entertaining and make people feel at home. And so when I thought about it from my grandma, I have one grandma in particular that had passed and she's with the Lord now, but she had 12 children. And my grandpa was he had a construction company.
Really?
Wow,
Yeah.
There's a
So
generational thing.
Really well. Yeah, he did really well back in third world country. And it's crazy because having 12 kids, you had 12 employees, right? So all of them would go to work with grandpa, and then of course us kids, the grandkids would all go as well. And then they had a bunch of people that they employed to help them build. Because my dad recently told me, like, my grandpa built an entire community, which is like thousands of homes in Romania that him and his team did. And so I just remember being young and going to work with my grandparents and my dad, and I don't know, there'd be 50 to 100 people there working, and my grandma every single day would have breakfast ready, lunch ready, and dinner ready for her family and all these workers. And it's crazy because it's a lot of work. Like, as soon as you finish breakfast, and they didn't have paper plates and all that stuff. So anyway, sorry, I'm long-winded, but because it's coming to me and I'm like, that's so special. Like, I never heard her complain, never heard her act exhausted. She always did it with joy. And so I think a lot of my hospitality comes from that. Like, I've seen her do that for all her family and friends. And so maybe that's where I learned to be very open and, have people over all the time. And
that is a real strength to be able to do that and care about it. And you do, I've seen you do it. You put extra special attention and care and making sure that you talk to everybody that is there, and you're very good at it.
Well, thank you, Grandma.
I think I saw that too in my grandma. She, always had a big table and big holidays. So like the whole family would come together, and she lives in the South. And so very much food is a part of that culture, right? So everyone's sitting around a table, gathering together for holidays and meals. And even when we moved away to here to Arizona, we would go back and the same kind of love would come through sitting around that table with food. So hospitality ran in my family as well. I can't say that I have that gift of entertaining, but the gift I do have that passed down from my mom and my grandmother was encouragement, just like lifting people up. They are some of the most like nurturing, like uplifting women that I've met. And so for me, that was really key to kind of see how they would always have a positive word or a kind word, or would give that to not only us grandkids, but just everyone around them. Like they were always so loving. So I really feel like that's a gift that I was able to adopt and kind of live out in my own life now.
Oh yeah.
How about in like
Hence
faith?
your profession,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I think it
wow,
helps. I think it helps having that
thing.
encouragement, because it just comes naturally. It's not a forced thing where, kind of looking at the positive side just kind of is a natural strength that I think was woven through those generations, and largely because they modeled that for me. So how about faith traditions that you got from mom or grandmothers passed down? Did you guys have any of those?
I remember seeing Grandma, um, her and Grandpa every single morning when we were there. Like I felt like we kind of grew up in Romania. That's kind of what you do. You live with the parents and the grandparents. You all live together, and you're kind of always together. And so I remember every morning they would have like before breakfast, Grandma would make breakfast for all of us, but they would have like a prayer time, prayer devotional time, where we would gather in their living room and Grandpa would read something from the Bible, and then we would sing. There's a specific song that we sang every time we got together. And then we would just get on our knees and everyone would say a quick prayer, and then we would go have breakfast. And that's how they started their day every day.
That's awesome.
It was so beautiful.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I remember like not liking it as a kid because I'm like, oh, here we go.
We don't appreciate it as kids.
Yeah, I wish I kept that tradition with my kids. Now, I would pray with them every night and stuff like that. But how much better would it have been if every morning we started that way instead of always rushing and yelling and get yourself your leave, like, and then you set the tone for the whole day with like chaos versus with Jesus. And so I can't say that I did that, past that tradition, but it was now looking back, I'm like, that was a beautiful thing that they did every day, that they just put God first and started it that way.
As you were talking about that, I almost feel like it was affected because of our American culture.
And that's
we are rushed. Yes. We are on the go. At least in most areas, I think heavily populated areas and more rural areas, it's probably different. But when you think about Romania and the small town village, really, that they grew up in, that makes sense because it is a slower pace and it's intentional with we're missing that. We're definitely missing that.
It's cool to see some of those spiritual disciplines that maybe they weren't saying like, we're going to practice rest or Sabbath, we're going to practice worship, or we're going to practice prayer. Like they didn't specifically say that's what we're doing every morning, but it just naturally evolved in that way. And so those like spiritual rhythms that just kind of pass down generationally, again, through song, through strong memories like that, it's powerful. Like it left an impression on you despite the time that's passed. That's really cool. That's really cool. For our family, the blessing of the food was always a really big thing. Like we couldn't eat until we had said the blessing. And that's something that we do in our family today as well. But we, going to church, I think in the South, it was more of like, that's just what you do. And so then moving out of the South, and then our family was military, so we moved around a lot, and it was hard to get connected and plugged into a church. So there were years where decades probably, that I didn't go to church. And so now that I have that rhythm back in my life for a long time now, that rhythm, that community, I see how essential it is. And so I'm grateful that at least that seed was planted, even if it wasn't consistent. I think that's the power. Sometimes just those seeds being planted bear fruit, whether you see them presently or down the line. So how about you, Kristen?
I was thinking about nightly prayer. My mom started us very, very young, probably in the crib. Can't even, speak yet. And she loves, one of her favorite stories is, I think, if I'm recalling correctly, where she would come in and say her prayers, now I lay me down to sleep. And my little sister was in the same room and she could barely speak yet, and she was all
Oh, wow.
so it's instilling that into
Mhm.
your nervous system. It's that pattern, but
Yeah.
it really helped me understand prayer from the get-go. And then I don't remember really doing nightly prayer from probably the age of 6 until about 11. And now when I think back about that, that was when chaos was really happening within my family, because my parents divorced when I was 6 at that time, and then they remarried when I was 11.
Mm.
And then I remember just one time in my bed at 11 years old, like, I haven't prayed at night in a long time. I wonder why. And in that moment, I said, I'm going to pray every night now for the rest of my life.
I love that. So those early seeds that were planted, even though years had passed, you picked it up on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. And just the power of like routine and tradition. You know, we never know what we're doing today, how that's going to impact generations down the road.
And
That's so cool.
I was pretty consistent with my
Mhm.
girls when they were real little doing that up until now they basically put themselves to bed. But recently I've been working on still doing that with them. Like going, even though Emily's almost 12 and Olivia's almost 17, I'm still I like, they love it when I rub their back and I soothe them down to sleep. And yeah, anyway, that just triggered that for me.
Oh, I love that. How about you, Alina? Any traditions that you're like, I really carry this forward because of the seeds that were planted generations ago?
I think it's the same thing for me with praying with the
Praying
kids
with the kids. Yeah.
at night. But and it's, as you were talking, I was thinking, I'm like, man, that's so true. Because my kids, I used to pray with them every night until they got older and started putting themselves to bed. And recently, even my daughter Abby, who's 21, we had her on the last episode. She's like, Mom, you don't ever pray with us anymore. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Do you want me to? And so I'll pop in their room, randomly. I have since then, but still not consistent. So I need to make it a point to start doing that again, because it does matter to them even at this
It
age.
does.
If
Yeah.
they're home, it's so important. I think it just that bond, and just teaching them still to talk to God every night, and then it makes me feel better, and I'm
Absolutely.
sure them too.
A connection,
Mhm.
that motherly connection. I don't know. I know what you mean. It's a great
Yeah.
feeling. Do you ever do
Yeah.
that with Caitlin?
We do. Actually, as a family, Caitlin holds us accountable. So she's 14 now. And so she'll be like, it's prayer time, but we've had to move it because she stays up later than we do because we're old and we want to go to bed. And she's a teenager and they like to stay awake. We'll actually have, like, my husband and my daughter and I will come together and we read a little devotional and then we do praises and prayers. So it takes like 5 minutes, but it still is something that just really anchors our day together. It creates a touch point. And she asked for it. So as long as she's willing and open to it, we're going to keep doing it. And she's our accountability. So if we're like, oh, we're tired, she's like, no, we got to do prayer time. So it's been a really good rhythm for our family. So yeah. And the devotional, it's one we got her for Easter when she was probably like 7. And so it's like devotional for girls, but I've tried to buy her like teen ones or older ones. She's like, no, I want to read this devotional. And so it's 365. And so every year we just start it back over.
Oh,
So it's cool.
Since you gave it to her?
Almost consistently. I don't know if we'd started doing the nightly prayer right then, but we've been consistent with the nighttime prayer for years now. It's been really cool. Yeah. Yeah. And she asked for it. So I'm grateful for that.
Doesn't that just warm your mama heart when they ask for it and they want it? And then it makes you slow down for a second. You're like, wait a second. I need to focus on what is more important. We get so lost in the sauce of our thoughts. So yeah.
It's a nice reflection on the day too, like the things that caused us stress or the things that happen. It's like a nice conversation opener of like, what do you need prayer for today? Or, oh, this person shared they were going through something hard. Let's pray for them as a family. So it's kind of a cool just conversation, not just with God, but as a family too. So I love how God just allows that place of dual conversation, right? It's a two-way street where we get to talk with each other and then we get to talk with him about it too. And
yeah. And one of the things that I started thinking about when you were asking about faith is tradition, in a sense, where my great grandmother on my dad's side, she was the other one that was instrumental in sharing her faith with me. And even though I had a very short amount of time with her before she passed, she she instilled some strong roots in me. I cannot explain it. You know, so with your grandmother, how old were you when she passed? This was my great grandmother. So
I just recently lost my grandma that I was telling you guys about was on my dad's side. She passed away like 15 years ago. But that's who also came when, remember I told you guys my story. My mom left, my parents got divorced and she left. And then my dad brought her to take care of us. And so then we kind of built that special bond for a little bit too. And so, yeah, she passed away 15 years ago. My other grandma, whom I also loved and adored, was an amazing hard worker. She just passed away in 2020 actually.
Oh wow, you had some good time.
Yeah. Well, no, I did not actually. No, because when I left Romania, it was 30 years before I went back.
Wow.
To see my grandparents again.
So you were never in communication on
Not
the phone,
really.
or?
Unfortunately, no, because we weren't really allowed to when we were younger. And then when we became married, I got married and moved out and stuff, then I started having communication with them. But still, it wasn't as rare as I would have wanted to be, because I think we just grew apart. But like, it's so funny. I remember calling my grandparents and all I said was hello. And they probably had like 20, 30 grandkids and they knew exactly who I was.
Oh, I love
it was
that.
so, I don't know if it's because I was a favorite, because I was the I was the first grandchild, maybe. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was so precious that and it's so funny. Like, I do know that everything that I went through all my life, it was the prayers of our grandparents and parents. And boy, do I feel that. Like, once we don't have those anymore and they've passed, I know my mom and dad still pray for us, but I don't know. It's just those old timers that grew up in the hard times and communist and loved the Lord, that I feel like I miss that. I can sense that those prayers are not there as much.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Oh, I am, sister.
Yeah.
That's my
You're creating that new generation.
Yeah.
So you're going to be that generation at some point, the grandparents that are praying and prayer warriors for your future grandkids.
Yes.
But if we weren't having these conversations, we probably would never think about it again. So as we're talking about this, it's bringing up new things or old things, but in a good way, in my opinion.
I agree that we need to do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
For me, yeah.
It's having more conversations with your kids and all that. As we were sharing these type of traditions, did anything come to mind for you, like traditions and values in your family?
Yeah. I mean, definitely the prayer was something. My grandmother is a beautiful woman of the Lord, and she's still with us, and love her so much. And she always had her Bible. She would always go to church, and so her faith was really strong. I could see her live it out. So that's my mom's mom. But my dad's mom, I didn't know that she really had faith. And so she passed a few years ago, and there was this picture of Jesus on the cross with the crown of thorns in her room when she passed, because she was in an assisted living at the time. And so my aunt had sent some things of hers to our family, and my dad asked me, "Do you want this?" And I'm like, I had no idea. She had a picture of Jesus in her room. We never talked about it. Didn't know. I knew that she took my dad and the kids to church when they were real little, but they had distant relationships with God for many years. So I just didn't know. So I think it's the power of sharing and living it out, speaking about your faith in those generational settings, because I would have had no idea until after she passed that she loved the Lord and had this picture. And so now I have it in my prayer closet.
Yeah, it stops the tradition or the value, right? If it's not talked about. And I don't know. I think that we are blessed to be able to live in a time right now where we have a voice and we are able to do things like this. I feel like there may have been a lot of dark times, especially during the Great Depression and, the roaring 20s when there was that stock market crash and even beyond that. So it probably scared people to be able to talk. It's like, not sharing a foreign language with your children, because it was like taboo not to speak another language. You needed to speak English. And how much that's broken that tradition or that value. And it's a good thing to pass those things on. So are Are there, like what you were talking about, bringing, bring back those values and traditions?
Mhm.
What would you think would need to be like brought back that you would like to ignite in your
Uh,
family?
I think just living out the faith, like not just speaking about the Lord, but
Mm-hmm.
like showing those qualities, right? Like we all want to be more like Jesus and live that out. So am I leaving a legacy of love? Am I leaving a legacy of prayer? Am I leaving a legacy of community with other believers? Like those are things that I really cherish and value and try to pass on to my daughter. I hope she adopts those and carries those forwards, but that's going to be on her. That's up to
Mm-hmm.
her and her relationship with the Lord. But I think just even being able to have the conversation, and she knows my faith. She knows, I believe,
Oh, yeah.
that she knows that that's something that we value as a family, and that she can carry forward if that's something she chooses to.
I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. Bringing back traditions. Think about that. Think
Mm-hmm.
about some traditions. Go back a little bit in a way that is healing, but it's honest. It's showing your gratitude of those traditions, those values, and what you want to carry forward as you're continuing to build your legacy. And don't go anywhere because we're going to be right back after a quick break.
This episode of Into the Garden We Grow is sponsored by Rise and Renew Wellness. Life can feel heavy, and sometimes the path forward feels blurred. At Rise and Renew Wellness, we provide a safe space to breathe, reflect, and heal. Our counseling services are here to help you rediscover strength and start your journey towards renewal from the comfort of your own space. Rise and Renew Wellness. Start your journey today.
Having that conversation about looking backwards and talking about those values and traditions and all those strengths that we've had, let's dive a little bit deeper now and think about the things and the times that we've had to unlearn certain traditions or values that maybe didn't serve us.
Girls, tell me, or why don't you think about a pattern that didn't serve you, that you had to unlearn, or the things that we didn't realize we carried with us because of some of the past, or the silent or expectations. I know I have a couple things that come to my mind. Some of the things that I had to unlearn was guilt and shame. Um, Guilt and shame, both. I think they stemmed from my divorce, getting a divorce. And I know a lot of, so it's kind of crazy though, the stories that we tell ourselves or the things that we put in our head just based on like what we listen to people around us and how they influence us. But I remember like divorce wasn't a thing, especially in the Romanian community in a Christian home. Like, out of my parents and all of his 12 siblings, on my dad's side, he's the only one who's been divorced. And on my mom's side, I think all but one. And so I thought, well, maybe that's why I have a hard life. I had a hard childhood, or it forced me to grow up at 9 to be mom because it's punishment for my parents going through a divorce. And so I remember telling myself, I'm never going to get divorced. I don't ever want my kids to go through this or suffer. And I I tried to hold it together for 10 years. And then unfortunately, things just didn't work out right. It takes two. And so, um, talk about the guilt and shame from that, because now, of course, I even though I was going through some tough times, I mostly worried about my kids. And so, as a parent, you try to overcompensate, for what they're going through. And so, instead of, I think, being a better parent, it almost made, now that I look back, I'm like, man, I probably could have been a better parent because I did a lot of the things that I didn't want my kids to experience by having a divorce. Like, I overgave them stuff and allowed them to get away with a lot of things because I was like, well, they have a split family, or they have it hard that they have to go to two homes, instead of looking at it as a bonus. Like, hey, you have two homes that you are blessed by, or you get double the Christmas presents or birthday presents because um, but anyway, so I do remember having a lot of guilt and shame from that. And it was so bad when I was going through my divorce. I remember working at the police department, and a person in particular at that time came to me, and she was like, I always viewed you as this like perfect Christian woman, which none of us are perfect,
Mm,
right?
no.
But she goes, but now you're getting divorced because, oh, you're just like the rest of them. Like, and so talk about that, expect, like now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm no longer a good person for doing this. And so the expectations of people, didn't help either. And, the expectations of being a Christian, I'm like, oh, now people are looking down on me because I did this act. And so, but I remember almost every awakening moment when I would pray to God, I would always ask for forgiveness for getting divorced and not making it work. It was so crazy because I just thought it was the end of the world sin, like the worst mistake. And so then, God over and over showed me that's what I sent my son for. His grace, right? Like he's like, you're forgiven. And even though I've heard it from multiple people, multiple preachers, multiple, you know, podcasts and conferences and stuff that I went to, because I remember just trying, like, to fill that need of like knowing that it's okay, I'm okay, that I'm not the worst person, or I'm not a bad person for getting divorced, right? um and I seeked all kinds of like different conferences to personal growth, and finally, how I was able to get rid of guilt and shame was one day. I had this amazing doctor that it was a God answered prayer that I met. And he came over to visit me in Arizona from Florida. And he told us, he goes, I'm going to stay with you for a week, which I thought, well, that's not normal because most people don't come and live with a person for a week. But that's cool. Like I grew up that way, but in American culture, you don't really go and stay with somebody. You get a hotel, right? And I think he did it on purpose because he wanted to be integrated in our family and in our day-to-day life to see how we act. And so I remember one Sunday, it was right before church, we were sitting having our coffee, and he's like, I need to talk to you. So I think he could even sense my guilt and shame through that. And he kind of called me out on it. And he's like, Alina, you have to let go of that. Like that happened at that time. It was like, I don't know, 15 years ago. Like God has forgiven you for that. He has sent his son. His grace is forever. It's not just a once. And like, I just couldn't get it in my head that, Jesus did that for me. Let it go. You're forgiven. He doesn't keep tabs of all your mistakes and all your the things you've done wrong, your wrong choices. If you truly seek him and you are repenting from it, he forgives you. And then I remember going to church, and the sermon that day was on shame and guilt. Like I was like, okay, Lord, I get it. And I don't know if it was just something finally lit inside of me, that maybe the fact that I saw that Dr. Kamas had value in me to tell me like, hey, it's okay, to personally somebody one-on-one to share that. And then God just literally, the sermon was the perfect sermon for me that day. And then I found out, I was like, all right, Lord, I am so sorry for being so stubborn and not understanding the fact that you love me no matter what my sin is. And, I need to let go of that. So, yeah. So thank God. I mean, I feel like it's a work in progress. Everything we do is still working. You have to remember, because there are days when Satan comes and tries to, put thoughts in your head because nothing good is from God, right? We live in an evil world. And so he tried to freaking, now that I remember, I was like, he tried to kill me from back when I wasn't even here. Like he tried to, because he knew that my mom, I just recently found out that my mom told me that when she was pregnant with me, she had a really bad kidney infection, and they gave her a lot of really strong antibiotics, and the doctors over and over told her, you need to abort the baby. The baby's gonna not be, she's not gonna be able to, she's gonna be disabled, Down syndrome, probably won't walk, won't talk, any of that stuff. And my mom was only so she got married age, I think she was like maybe early 20s when she had me, super young. And so all these doctors were telling her to do it, and she refused And thank God she did, because here I am. And then at 5 weeks, I remember I found out that I almost died because I was crying and my aunt was trying to soothe me and she gave me potatoes and fed me mashed potatoes. And I turned purple. Then maybe that explains why I love potatoes anyway. Yeah, I love potatoes. And then I almost drowned nearly 6 times. And so it's so crazy how, the devil just is after us, I feel like. And so, but there's a reason I'm still here. And God has put me through so much. He's not done with me yet. And so, but yeah, I feel so much better relieving that shame and guilt. Now I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Like if it doesn't work out, there's a reason, just move past that. God loves you anyway, let go. It's not the end of the world if you get divorced or if you screwed up or messed up, as long as we repent from it. And I see God's blessing in it now. Once I kind of let go of that, man, I just feel like He's blessed me so much with the beautiful family that I have now, my husband and my kids.
Absolutely.
So powerful.
Yeah. Sorry. Hopefully you guys thought of yours, because I know if there are any patterns that you feel like you need to break from.
Well, I can relate to the, expectations of others, or I have a friend that says that she's a recovering perfectionist, and I can relate to that. And I can see that generationally too, of, always wanting to meet people's expectations, wanting to be perfect, wanting everyone to be happy. And so having to learn and be reminded of like my worth and like, I'm good enough, that doesn't mean I don't still try to grow and get better in what I do, or just as a mom, or just in life, but that I'm good enough, I have worth, I have value because I'm His, because God says so. And so that's one I've had to work on unlearning for myself, just because there is that drive in me. I can see it come out in certain situations where that perfectionism will kick in. I'll be like, okay, Kelly, sometimes good is good enough, and you keep growing, So I don't know, Kristen, do you have any of those that you can relate to unlearning?
Yeah, I was thinking a lot of different things. However, the one thing that I'm unlearning now, I'm presently working on it every day, is to not avoid the difficult conversations, because I'm so afraid of controversy and rocking the boat. But I'm learning that actually causes more harm than good.
Yes,
And I probably have lost friendships because I didn't speak up soon enough, and they could have maybe been salvageable had I had the courage to stand up and really share the things that were bothering me. Maybe not. I can't live in that regret. All I can do is unlearn those behaviors and learn the new behavior of, you know what, you can have those difficult conversations and it not be extra controversy, because it can be kind. You can say the things that are bothering you. You can say it in any capacity of your life. I've been practicing it very much in my professional life, in my personal life, with my marriage and with my children, and honestly with my own health. I've been speaking up for my own health and be an advocate, and that is being kind. And I don't want to go back and revert to my little rock hiding under that, because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, because that's not the intention. I'm learning that the more I bottle up, the worse it gets.
Yes. Yes. I had a pastor once say to me, clarity is kindness. And so just being clear. And so you're actually kinder when you speak, where you're at, or what your expectations are, or what your needs are, in kindness, because then that gives the other person that opportunity to meet you where you're at. Because as much as we want to be mind readers, we're not God. We don't know what the other person's thinking. So I love that you're challenging yourself, kind of back to what you were saying about boldness, and just being bold in what you're saying, and doing it in a loving, kind way, because that's going to make those relationships healthier.
It is. And I'm not going to lie, there's a relationship that was a big part of my life for over 20 years, and somebody that I really love and care about. I still love and care about them, but I don't know if we'll ever be friends again. And I wish that I would have been able to have the courage and to be able to share the things that were really bothering me, And maybe I did, and it just wasn't received the way that I was expecting it to be received. I don't know. It was kind of a tricky situation, but I'm learning how to not do that. I'm unlearning the old pattern, and I'm learning to be able to, because at the end of the day, I still come home with me and I have to love me. But I can tell, like, when the reason why I'm thinking about that is because you were talking about guilt and shame. So I think that maybe I'm still carrying some guilt and shame over that because it could have been handled better. Um, to the fact where I dream about this person regularly because I miss them. But at the same time, it's like, what do I do with that? Well, I'm just going to keep working on me. I'm going to keep doing what God is presenting in my path, and my core focus is my family, my marriage, my children, being a good parent, and then continuing to lead. I still have a business. I still have to show up for that. I still have to lead. I still have to make sure people are getting paid, So it's learning how to not be perfect, let it go, surrender, and let Him help me. I have to, like, He's there. He's like, come on, let's do this. I'm right here waiting for you. And I have to be willing to be like, we're doing this because you said that we can do this together. And I'm going to.
Yeah. These are also relatable because I think on every level we can all relate to guilt and shame. On every level we can relate to perfectionism or not good enough. And so even though our stories might be different, they're very much similar themes, right? And so the more we hold on to these pieces, the more we kind of hold it towards our identity. And so use the word surrender a minute ago. And so being able to surrender and be like, maybe that's a situation or a circumstance or something I went through, but that doesn't define who I am. Who I am is chosen and worthy and loved and, beautiful and created with a purpose. And so the more we release, the more we rise, the more we grow. So I love that we're having this conversation about, unlearning, because I think there's a release in the unlearning.
Yeah, it's not about blaming anybody.
No.
It's about going inward and reflecting on your part and the things that you thought were serving you, but they really haven't served you, and you recognize that, and you're gonna choose to walk a different path and build a new muscle, right? But it's sad when people go their whole life and they don't do that.
Yeah. But and so that's why I think this conversation is such an encouragement of like, we're worthy of that grace, that we don't have to be perfect. Life is messy. We mess up all the time. And Jesus knew we were going to, God knew we were going to, and that's why we needed a savior. So that gives me comfort of knowing like, oh, well, he already knew I was going to mess up. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But to not walk it alone. And again, community, right? Like being able to share our stories with people that are going to encourage you and spur you on and saying, it's okay, but you don't have to hold that anymore.
No.
Like when we get in isolation, to your point earlier, like those negative thoughts, like the enemy wants to attack our thoughts. And so when we can bounce it off of people or hear conversations like this to where we can go, I'm not alone in that. There's a lot of power in that.
My mom was pressured into getting an abortion too with me from her mom.
Wow.
And my mom refused. And
thank God she did.
Yeah, my grandmother kicked her out because of it. So, but yeah, I go into more depth in sharing that story. But
I'm so grateful you ladies are both here today and are just such an encouragement. I know not just to me, but to everyone else too.
Yeah. So let's think about this. What are the things that haven't been serving you? Recognize those patterns. If you're feeling some type of way and it's not bringing you peace, it's not bringing you joy, that is a trigger right there for you to recognize and stop in that moment and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? And how do I want to feel? What step do I need to take to be able to make sure that I don't feel this way anymore? You have that ability to do that. You have to go. I mean, it's going to take some practice. It takes some work, but it is worth it. There's beauty. There is power on the other side of that. Do not get stuck. Do not give up. Keep going. You're there. Persevere. And you never know what's going to be on the other side. But don't go anywhere again. We're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have some fun. So stay with us. This episode of Into the Garden We Grow is sponsored by Langston Security and Integration, a women-owned and led company grounded in integrity, stewardship, and long-term relationships. For over 18 years, LSI has helped businesses protect what matters most through thoughtful, reliable security solutions. At LSI, we believe strong foundations create space for growth in business and community and in life. To learn more, visit langstonsecurity.com. All right, so now it's time to lean in a little bit further with this conversation, and let's talk about the legacy, the impact that we want to make within our line, our genealogy line of the family that you're taking care of. And let's talk about, pinning back off of what you were talking about with perfectionism and letting that go. Like even with you, like releasing that guilt and shame. Why don't you come in to this circle here and join us as we dive in a little bit deeper and talk about that?
Well, and I'm curious, the things that we're holding on to kind of keep us trapped, right? And so if we release them, it gives us room to carry other things forward. And so kind of tapping back into our conversation earlier, what are some things that you want to release? And we're actually going to write them down. So be thinking about what you want to release, that we're going to kind of take it and we're actually going to rip it up. There's just something like in that power of like saying, I'm releasing this. I'm no longer carrying it, because we want our hands to be open to what God has for us, what we want to take forward instead of holding old things that don't serve us. So, I'd love to invite each of you to share maybe the thing you're unlearning that you want to release so that you can carry something different forward.
I am going to unlearn avoiding difficult conversations.
That's beautiful. And kind of keeping that in mind, something Kristen, you said earlier about like, it's okay for that. It's a work in progress. It's not a once and done and we rip it up. We have to keep practicing it over and over again. It's flexing and stretching that muscle like you were saying. So how about you, Alina?
I'm going to unlearn being so hard on myself and the mistakes that I've made. Perfection, I guess, goes with that, right? Because we're not perfect. We all sin. We all fall short. And so I just need to learn to let it go and just be very conscientious of not repeating that, like not doing the same thing again. So don't be so hard on myself.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to write down perfection as well, because I think if you aim for perfection, you're going to fail every time, right? It's unattainable. So it keeps us in that cycle of the not good enoughs or the guilt and shame and all of that. So I'm going to write down for myself perfection. And then I'm going to invite you at home to go ahead and write something down too and join us as we release it. So everybody got theirs written down?
Yes, ma'am.
Set that here. All right, so 3, 2, 1, we release it.
That's
get mine like little
satisfying.
tiny pieces. There's something with the physical gesture. I'm gonna throw mine.
Ooh, I like that. Bye.
Release. Look, there's nothing
Bye,
in her
Felicia.
hand. Yes. Oh, no, put yours on me.
Go away. Shoo.
Okay, so now that our hands are open, let's talk about what we want to carry forward, what we want to give to the next generation, what we are just, leaving our hands open to carry forward. Kristen, I see you breathing into that. What's coming up for you?
Confidence. My girl's confidence.
Oh, I like that.
I love that.
Good.
Let me ask one more question before we hear from Alina. What are you going to do to live out that confidence, to carry that confidence so that they see it from you and pick it up?
Having kind, clear conversations, even if they are a little difficult. By me modeling that and not avoiding it, it shows my confidence, which being a model is the best way that I can influence them with the confidence.
I love that. So good. So good. So we're going to write that down and we're going to put it into the garden hat that we've done in other episodes too. So keep your pen and paper handy, but yours was confidence. Alina, how about you?
Well, for me, it's almost like hers because the first thing that came to mind is fear. Don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe, to speak up. So it's kind of like confidence as well, but fear. Because what I learned is fear never leaves you. It's always there. But leaders move anyway. No matter how afraid you are, you're still going to go, right?
Yeah.
Get going. And so fear, like, don't be afraid of.
I'm glad that you said it in this way because I am in the book of Proverbs right now. And, you know, that one especially, all throughout the Bible, it talks about fear the Lord. Okay. But what that means, it doesn't mean get scared. It means, here's a picture for you to think about. Imagine that you're standing in front of the Grand Canyon. Okay. Instead of being afraid that you're going to fall into this canyon, you're standing and you're looking at how massive this Grand Canyon is. And you're just in awe. That's what it means to fear the Lord. He is the Almighty, and you're just in awe. That is fearing the Lord.
Scripture also talks a lot about fear not, right. Repeated all throughout the Bible. And so it's easy to go, what do you mean fear not? Like just erase that fear because, you know, we're equipped with fear for a reason.
Yes.
But a lot of times that fear alarm rings its bell and it's a false alarm. And so I love that you said that. I have told this to my clients over the years, so that may have heard this before. There's a book I read once called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And I don't remember the contents of the book, but the title always stuck with me is that you need to take the step despite the fear. And so that sounds like that's kind of what you're saying there as well, Lena.
So that's my thing is like, do it scared and believe God, right? Do it. Just do it, even if it's scary. Yeah. And then just trust that God will take care of it.
Sounds like you're giving your daughters and your sons a bold action. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Bold action.
I love that.
What about for you? Yeah.
I think mine is grace. I think grace, receiving God's grace, giving ourselves grace, giving other people's grace. We tend to fall into this like black and white thinking. I'm guilty of it too, you know, and I have to work really hard to practice to get out of that it's either all or nothing. We did bad or we did good, like in these absolutes. And so being able to adopt a posture of grace leaves room for the good enoughs, leaves room for I made a mistake, but that's not all that I am. And so for me, that's something I just have to remember and want to carry that forward in future generations. And my daughter too is like, I always tell her, give yourself grace, give other people grace, right? And just making sure that I'm living that out as an example too.
One of the ladies, one of my leaders in my company, she came from a very toxic work environment. And so she's had to shed off some of that old skin. And one of it, her previous boss was just hounding her all the time, was very negative, would curse at her, everything. And if she didn't get it right, she was so afraid. And when she joined our team, the lesson that she's taken away from the very beginning is good enough.
Yeah, I love that. Giving some grace. Like we still want to put forth our best effort. Grace is not like an excuse or a hall pass. You still give your best, but your best is good enough. And that there's forgiveness built into grace.
Right.
Yeah. And there's love built into grace. I always think when you think about giving someone grace, like it's done with kindness, with love, with respect. So that's what I'm going to write down. So if you want to grab your papers, and this time we're going to put it into the hat because we're carrying this forward. So you could put it in a jar at home. We've got our garden hat here. So I'm just writing down grace. And then I'm going to grab the hat here. I'll fold mine in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So that's what we're carrying forward. So we've released, and now we're carrying something healthy that we want to pass on to our future generations and those that we love. So what a cool conversation just to think about leaving behind those patterns and carrying forward what we want to instill.
Yeah.
I like the looking backward and forward part to it.
Definitely. Now let's talk about how that is going to look as of when we leave here,
Mm-hmm.
what are the steps, the baby steps of carrying that forward for you?
So for me, I think it's your words have to match your actions. So if I'm going to say, hey, I want my daughter to give grace to herself and to others, then I need to live that too. So that's giving space for myself to be, to have grace in my own actions. So I'm going to try to practice what I preach, and I'm going to take some steps to just have that mindset of good enough, and still giving my best, still growing. I'm really going to try to hold on to that. That's one of my things this year. And I think with grace too, I kind of adopt this posture of gratitude. I think I talked about this in the last episode, but like gratitude in seeing abundance in what I have, that I'm abundant already, and that those around me are abundant, because we all have gifts and strengths and these beautiful things, whether we've learned it from our past generations or have adopted it ourselves to carry forward. So words and actions, I guess, is a simpler way to say what you asked.
Yeah. So let's say you find yourself falling into that old pattern. What is something that you would do for yourself to recognize that and to keep moving forward, instead of putting that pressure on yourself, like, oh, I messed up, because so many of us do that.
Sure. I truly believe in the mind, body, spirit connection. So I've got to move my body differently. So that's like getting into a different environment. So going outside, going for a walk, like changing up that. Because I tend, and maybe you guys can relate to this, like to go into pity party mode. It's usually on the couch, usually with a cozy blanket. I'm a little too comfortable. So I need to like get up and do something different, get some sunshine, go outside, take a walk, and really just kind of remember, like do like a gratitude list, do notice what is good. I heard someone say recently, what's bad is always available. Maybe it was like a Tony Robbins thing, but like you have to choose where you put your thoughts. And when you move your body in a different way, it allows you to access that better. So
he says what's bad is always available, but so is what is good.
I love that.
It's always available as well.
That's stuck in my head. So if I get stuck, those are some actions I'm going to take: is change my environment, remember truths and gratitudes.
Great.
How about you guys?
That's awesome.
That was a tough question.
Yeah. So what are the baby steps that you'll take after this, moving forward toward that, what you want to carry forward?
Well, I think I'm just gonna do it. Right? Like, don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to put it out there. Because to me, success looked like the things you have, the things you've accomplished. And I think to a lot of people, a lot of us, that's what success looks and feels like. But success is not that. So success is what you earn. Like, I'm sorry, success is not what you earn. Success is, oh my goodness, I totally messed that up, you guys. I'm so sorry. It's not what you earn, it's what you give, right? Like the person that you show up to be for others, the being kind, the gentleness, the hospitality, that's what success is, right? And get it out of our heads that it's not what you've earned or what you've done with your life or with yourself.
Yes.
And so I think I'm just going to take that steps of like, just try it. I kind of live by the worst is a no. It's a no anyway, right? A lot of things that we ask ourselves for, but then, so if it's a no, why not try it, right? Like I've done that with a lot of things in my life. The worst is a no, so I'm just going to ask anyway. And then you'll be surprised what comes out of it.
Yeah.
Like some great things, adventures and memories and all the good stuff comes from that.
Someday you're going to have to share your 9/11 story.
Yes, is that what it brought up? Yes. So the worst is a no.
Yes.
Turn into some incredible things.
Very incredible things. Awesome. So as I was thinking about it too, the things that I could do to help carry it forward, confidence with my daughters, is just slowing down to be intentional of having conversations with them, doing a check-in with them regularly. Don't let everything else consume me. I really need there's power in the pause.
So good.
So if I am feeling anxious about something, if I am worried or stressed or, I'm in my own head, remember to pause. Just pause and then reflect. Don't make decisions that you can have the opportunity to reflect and pause on. Don't make decisions in that. But I mean, obviously, there's certain decisions you have to make in the moment. But overall, you can reflect on it, pray about it, journal it, have that conversation with yourself, reach out to that mentor, that close friend that you know could offer some good advice. And just that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep living it, keep doing it, and having those conversations with my daughters because I really care about what they're going through right now.
I love that. And so even just like us speaking out our next steps, right, gives that opportunity to of accountability. So now we get to be like, hey, how's that going? What, how's that, how's that going? How are you living it out? And, being able to do that in community. So, at home, being able to think about that too, and getting some accountability partners or buddies with you is super helpful.
You know what I've also learned is that when you proclaim something in public, then you're already committed.
Yep.
So we just did that.
All right. So we're accountable now.
We would love if you could, if you want to do that, if you want to participate in that, comment on it, what you're declaring in public, or share it somewhere publicly. Because it'll get in there, it'll get in your nervous system, and where your focus goes, your energy flows.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, friends, so much for joining us in another episode of Into the Garden We Grow, where we're going to continue growing and continue learning. And please don't forget to visit our website at intothegardenwegrow.org. You can send some contact information if you want to get connected with us, and we can pray or celebrate any praises that you have. If you are interested in maybe being a guest on our show, you could submit an inquiry on our website as well. Or if you have something that that you think would be a good marketing for, maybe you're writing a book, or maybe you're going to be doing a speaking engagement, or maybe you're going to be involved in some sort of a mission trip or something, and you want to advertise that, or, bring it to us, send it to our website. So you can also share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Into the Garden We Grow, and we're on pretty much all the social media platforms as well. Thank you again so much. Until next time, friends, have a good day. If something from today's conversation spoke to your heart, we invite you to share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for being part of this community. Until next time, friends, we'll meet you here in the garden, growing together.